everything psychologically because I just lost so much when it comes to groups. My music school's in limbo. And guess what I never got to do in all these processes? Heal. Because if you could tell, everything was going on and on and on and on, and I never, ever got to heal. So now all I'm doing is compiling things on top of each other, but yet there's a healing that needs to take place, and I don't know it yet. I will be sharing so much about my experience, my 20th year as an entrepreneur. So much I'm going to tell. A broken community. So many believes that when I started doing things in a community, I found a community that was, thriving. To be honest with you, the level of excellence or for lack of a better term, the way our community was vibrant is not time growing up is not what I found when it was time for me to put some things together, to be honest. I'll give you layers. Just to throw out some names. Growing up, you had Good Shepherd in their choir, like they were lit. You had, Claremont was a community going crazy. You had Bethany in Queens, then Cortelli Road Church of God, and we were in our own Church of God, and I guess mission they call it. So we never really was part of the Good Shepherds, the Uticas, but yet we all found a way to fellowship through the arts, which is through the choirs. So the community was super vibrant when I first was playing with Esther and Friends, but something happened through time. Something happened, and it was a lack of trust. The community became broken, where trust wasn't there anymore. So now me putting shows together, me putting events together, the community no longer was as excited. So by the time we found a community, we found a broken community, a community that was no longer interested in going to events. And shout out to, like I said, Rimsky, and I had, what's the event he used to have again? Youth Explosion for so long. It was so good. Ciclo used having concerts at Erasmus, so good. Then by the time we got involved, it got weird. And what's interesting is that I experienced a level of, how can I say, for the sake of, I'm trying to find the words for it, but let's circle back to Danielle Lewis when it comes to community not trusting. Danielle Lewis, like I said, amazing artist, great time. And when Danielle Lewis, I didn't understand what caused Danielle Lewis to go. So one day, I'm literally sitting home and I get a phone call from one of Danielle's old bandmates. And he's someone I grew up with. Again, I'm gonna keep all names, under the wraps. He goes, "Jackson, I have to apologize to you." I said, "Huh?" I said, I was like, "Let me take a drink for this one." He said, "Jackson, I gotta apologize to you." I said, "You gotta apologize to me for what?" He said, "You remember when you lost Danielle Lewis as a client, artist?" I said, yeah, how can I forget? He said, I'm the reason. I said, what? Because you got to think about it. In my mind, you can't be a reason because I did nothing wrong to you, or I don't think I did anything to trigger a space. And, one thing I'll say again, I've said it in many episodes, I'm not perfect. I made many mistakes, but I was 19, and a lot of people I dealt with was always older than me, but yet the grace was just very thin amongst us as a people. So he goes, I told Danielle, you remember when we had the Winterfest? I said, yeah. He said, I told Danielle, you used to feed Amante Lacey and Champion salmon and food, steak, where you used to only give us Papa John's and wings. That Winterfest was paying big money to you for Danielle, but I used to keep the money. Jackson, I lied. And I can't live with knowing that I talked to you and see you and you did nothing to deserve this. And that's what I told Danielle. Yo, that moment was huge for me. It was heartbreaking because I'll be honest with y'all. He did that. How many other people did similar? Yo, kudos to him that we still cool, that he was able to share something like that with me. But how many other people went and started something and said something about me that wasn't true? Because here's the truth. Because you see how you'll tell, let's say you tell 40 people about me something that's not true. When it's time for you to fix it, you only come to me. Won't you call all the people you lied to? Won't you do a mass public, hey, my name is XYZ, and I played myself. I am the donkey of you know how Charlemagne has donkey of the day? I'm the donkey of the decade. But no. And guess what I got to do, which I've always done? Take it in a chin and roll over. And I did call Danielle and told about it. She was shocked. But, at that point, bygones are bygones. But it was just another example of different things that happen in our community to cause our community just to constantly break down. So now I said to myself, I no longer want to do this. I no longer want to do the church thing. I'm good. I'm not doing this church thing no more. I said to myself, I am no longer doing this church thing. I am going to do what they call go secular. I'm heartbroken. I can't believe it, but life has to go on. And I lost my music school. So now I'm in a place of just confused, don't know what to do. I'm not doing well in school as much as I would want to do well in school because I realized I was not a school guy. I just wasn't a school guy. But one thing I did have, man, I always had my girlfriend, my wife, at my side. It wasn't easy, because in a community, trying to figure yourself out and figure a relationship out, one of the toughest things in the world, really, because the guidance you think you need or you need, you don't always have, right? And in the same time, another thing that I had that was amazing for me is my church. Man, I was in love with Cortelli Road Church of God. I loved creating praise and worship. I loved doing music. So, I was the music director at the church for many years, no shots, but I think I became the music director by default, really, because I had the most passion for it. I was so creative about it. And so throughout the whole time, so there was a little point in time that I was all about the church, Cortelli doing things, and we used to have all our revivals, and I was always there and did what I had to do to ensure that I was successful when it came to that. But in that same year, which now we're talking like we're like 210, 211. I'm like, yo, I gotta finish college, yo. So now I'm back at, I got kicked out of BMCC because funny story is one of the professors said that I was disruptive because they always had topics like the topics. The teacher, I understand why he was teaching, and I hate to sound like I was there to correct the professor, but when I was there, I challenged the professor. So what happened is sent me to the guidance counselor and I'm grown now. I'm like, why are they sending me to a guidance counselor like I'm in high school? So I went back to Berkeley and I took school serious. I started going to school. I started making relationships. I had, I remember Professor Bernard, and he would always tell me how much of a brilliant kid I am. And from there, I said, you know what? I'm going to finish college. So now I'm getting ready to finish college, guys. I'm going crazy. I said, this is it. So to finish college, they said to me, you need an internship. I was like, yeah, crazy. I'm not going to work for nobody. And check this out. And Danielle Delgado, you are finding this out for the very first time on this actual video. So I said, listen, I'm not going to nobody's internship to go work for free, blah, blah, blah. And it's because I had so much experience already. Man, this is like 2011, and I've been working since 2004 when it comes to entrepreneurship. So now I had a meeting with, I forgot her name. I believe her name was Diana at the time. She was the operator or the president for YMCA. I go to her and I tell her, hey, I'm interested in creating a program at the YMCA. And we came up with the Imagination and Motion. So now I go to Berkeley and tell Berkeley, yo, I got an internship. So how about this? So I become the Imagination and Motion director at YMCA on Flatbush when, this is so funny, Berkeley thinks I have an internship. YMCA knows I have a job. And that was my only time ever working a 9 to 5, which was my real internship, but it was just a paid one. So what I did, I took the information one another needed about each other, clink, made it together, and I was paid as an intern. But Danielle, no one knew that. No one knew that because I had a booming program. I had over 200 kids. I had violin class. I had, guys, let me break this down to y'all. Yo, I've never done this before, but remember I had a music school, so I had an idea, okay? I was managing a big budget. I had Luis Martinez that worked under me. I had Sandra Casti at the time. I had so many different teachers. I had about 8 teachers. And I also had 200 students. They learned violin. They learned piano. We bought them, there was a dance class, jazz tap class. Then this was a big thing. We was also teaching them how to make vases as well. So it's like a sculpting class. Could you imagine? I'm like, oh shoot, I'm doing all this. I'm talking about I got a big furnace installed in the classroom. I remember Alberto. If Danielle, you remember Alberto that worked at YMCA. He never really paid attention to what I was doing, because he retired, so I could put this on a record now. I would go find. Everyone's looking for Alberto. Berto. I go look for Berto. He's looking on the computer because he's just watching his 401k go up. Yo, it was crazy. I said to him, "This is what you do?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting for retirement." And that program now propelled me to know what it looks like to run a program with over 200 kids, over a budget of $500,000, And that program right there propelled me to another space of life, which is now teaching me what it looks like to have structure and what it looks like to be in a corporate setting. Because I had to dress up for work, but all in time, I'm still working on. I'm at the music school. I still have my music school, but at that time we was only doing home visits. And from there, I graduated college. I graduated from college, from Berkeley College. I graduated, and I think the thing, that's not the year actually. Break. Yep. So I graduated college, and when I graduated college, what was amazing about that is that same year I got married. I got married in 2011, and wow. And even when I got married, it was an interesting time for me because I had a hard time already trusting people, trusting the community because of what I went through, what I was going through. So our wedding was amazing, really, because it was a wedding that was full of family, and because the community was in a weird space where all other people in the community got married and they felt like they had to invite the whole community. I didn't do that. To the point, the average person that was at my wedding, I still speak to, still have a relationship with, where a lot of people that got married, they're not even cool with the person anymore. And now here comes a new journey, what it looks like to be married, understand what it looks like to be a husband, going through everything psychologically because I just lost so much when it comes to groups. My music school's in limbo. And guess what I never got to do in all these processes? Heal. Because if you could tell, everything was going on and on and on and on, and I never, ever got to heal. So now all I'm doing is compiling things on top of each other, but yet there's a healing that needs to take place, and I don't know it yet.